The child, being alone, wandered into his parents' room and saw the plate of the poisoned food lying on the ground. Being a child, he scooped some of the food into his mouth and ate it. And before the palace maid could remember that they were supposed to be looking after the young child and went to look for him, the child was dead.
Welcome to Iyagba's Epic Tales.
Once upon a time, in a kingdom named Ijokoko, lived a princess called Princess Adenike. Princess Adenike was the only child and heir of her father, King Adenike. Princess Adenike was loved by all. This is because, despite how much her father loves and pampers her, she was humble and treated everyone with kindness and respect. King Adenike would have been a difficult king if not for his daughter. Well, somehow he was, but Princess Adenike was always able to calm him down and make him revert whatever wrong decision he has made and chose to make. Princess Adenike's mother and former queen is late. She died from a strange illness when Princess Adenike was just 4 years old. Princess Adenike was raised by her nanny and her late mother's most trusted personal maid and friend, Iyalola. Iyalola faithfully served the late queen when she was alive and helped the king to raise Princess Adenike after the late queen died. Iyalola also has a daughter named Lola, who is just a year older than Princess Adenike, and the two girls grew up as sisters. Princess Adenike and Lola were very close, except for the main villagers and dwellers of Ijokoko. A stranger in the village would think that both girls were biological sisters. King Adenike was nice to Lola and her mother because of how helpful Iyalola have been to them. Ogundele was a young man who has also served the royal household for some years now. He is one of the king's guard and has been a guard since he was only 17. Ogundele and Princess Adenike first started off as friends, but their friendship grew into love over time and their hearts became one. But King Adenike wants another man for his daughter. The name of the man was Oyekunle. Oyekunle was the son of the former head of warriors of Ijokoko village. Princess Adenike had hoped that her father would grant her a wish of marrying Ogundele, but he was hard on her this time around. I will do anything for you and you know that, but this has to do with not just your future alone, but also the future of this kingdom, King Adenike told his daughter. I have to choose for you a noble man who would take after me also after I join my ancestors, he explained. And so, for the first time, against Princess Adenike's wish, she was forced to marry Oyekunle. 3 years later, Princess Adenike was yet to have any child in her marriage. She does conceive, but kept having miscarriages. Within the space of the 3 years of her marriage, Princess Adenike has been pregnant 4 times, but she never carried the pregnancies to full term. Princess Adenike and Oyekunle were worried, and so was her father, Iyalola, Lola, and everyone who loved Princess Adenike. Oyekunle, her husband, was beginning to complain bitterly as he wondered why the gods has been unfair to him and his wife. She is a good woman and does not deserve to go through such ordeals, 2 palace maids said as they discussed. Princess Adenike had also consumed many herbal medicines prepared by the two village-renowned herbalists and also from the midwives, but none of the medicines helped. Soon, Princess Adenike was pregnant again for the 5th time, and all the herbal doctors assured her that the herbal medicine they had given her this time around would help her carry the pregnancy to full term. And she did. She did carry the pregnancy to full term. But on the day of delivery, alas, it was a stillbirth. The baby died few seconds after he was born. Princess Adenike was devastated. Not again. Oh God, why? She cried. Lola had been away whilst Princess Adenike was pregnant because she was also pregnant at the same time, but it was out of wedlock. And because it was out of wedlock, Lola had gone to be with her grandmother in another village all through the time of her pregnancy because she felt ashamed and wanted to keep her pregnancy a secret from the villagers. Only her mother, Lola, and her best friend, Princess Adenike, knew about Lola's pregnancy. Lola had delivered her own baby 13 days earlier before Princess Adenike went into labor that day. 2 days before Princess Adenike had gone into labor, Lola had returned back to the village of Ijokoko and Palace to come tell her mother and her friend about the birth of her child, and was planning to return to her grandmother and baby when Princess Adenike went into labor. Because Princess Adenike lost her own baby, Lola, who was with her and the midwife whilst Princess Adenike was being helped to deliver her baby, offered to give her baby to Princess Adenike. Your husband and your father, the king, do not have to know, Lola said. She convinced Princess Adenike to accept her offer and promised that it would be a secret between the two of them and the midwife alone, as they made the midwife to swear an oath of secrecy. In order to buy time for Lola to go get her baby from her grandmother and give it to Princess Adenike, she and the midwife lied to everyone in the palace that Princess Adenike was still in labor, and everyone believed them as they were yet to hear the cry of a baby. Princess Adenike and Lola succeeded in their plan the evening of the next day as they announced to everyone that Princess Adenike had given birth to a baby boy after Lola had secretly returned with her own baby. Everyone was happy for Princess Adenike at last, and for years, the true story remained a secret between Princess Adenike, Lola, Lola, and the midwife. One day, a group of angry villagers marched an old woman to the king's palace. The woman was accused of being a witch and killing her grandson. They asked that King Adenike give them the permission to kill the old woman also. After listening to the angry crowd, Princess Adenike advised her father, as she always did, to take caution and not condemn an innocent old woman to death. Princess Adenike said that she has a feeling that the old woman is innocent of the allegation. King Adenike listened to his daughter and decided to carry out a thorough investigation about the matter, while he also consulted with the chief priest. At last, it was discovered that the old woman was innocent and that it was her old jealous co-wife who had killed her grandson and spread the rumor that the old woman was responsible for her grandson's death. The old woman, who was now vindicated, thanked Princess Adenike, as she was aware that if not for her wisdom and she stopping her father from doing what the angry villagers had wanted, she would have been dead. 3 days after the old woman was freed, she came visiting the palace again and to see Princess Adenike. She told Princess Adenike that she had a dream about her and that her dreams were always a revelation. She asked Princess Adenike not to eat any food brought to her by Lola and Oyekule, her husband, within the next 3 days because they were planning to kill her. Princess Adenike laughed at what the old woman said, as she could not bring herself to believe that her best friend Lola and her own husband would ever think of Amina, much more wanting to kill her. The old woman then brought out an old bracelet given to her by her mother and handed it over to Princess Adenike for protection. She told Princess Adenike that both Lola and her husband would try to force her to eat the food they had offered her thrice each in the next 3 days, and warned her never to eat any of the food and watch what would happen thereafter. Due to the old woman's words, Lola and Oyekule brought food to Princess Adenike on different occasions. Not like they had never done so in the past too, but the manner at which they were so desperate and tried to force Princess Adenike to eat the food when she said no to them bothered Princess Adenike. On the evening of the 3rd day, it was Oyekule who had brought food for her for the 3rd time. He got very angry when Princess Adenike rejected the food and was going to eat her with a rod in his hand when the power of the bracelet stopped him and he suddenly fell to the ground, unable to move. Scared and confused, Princess Adenike called for the guards to help her husband up, but his body began to get rotten suddenly and he began feeling excruciating pains. And so was Lola and Iyalola, who had both screamed in their rooms at about the same time and were brought out too. Oyekule began to confess. He told everyone present in the palace that he never loved Princess Adenike and was actually had secretly been married to Lola few weeks before the marriage ceremony between himself and Princess Adenike. Lola, Iyalola and Oyekule had all been involved in this plan. After the late queen died, Iyalola had hoped that the king would marry her because of how close she was to the royal household and how well she took care of Princess Adenike. She longed for this and did everything to win King Adeleke's heart, but he would not even notice her because he loved his daughter too much and decided not to remarry because of his daughter. When King Adeleke refused Princess Adenike from marrying Ogundele, her lover, and chose Oyekule, who was Lola's boyfriend, then unknown to the king and Princess Adenike, for her instead, Iyalola decided that it was time to strike. She and her daughter convinced Oyekule to play along and marry Princess Adenike so he would be king after they would have succeeded in killing the king and Princess Adenike later. And because Oyekule and Lola were secretly in a relationship, they got married secretly also before Oyekule married Princess Adenike, so that Lola would be his first legal wife secretly. They went on to confess that the three of them had been the one behind all the miscarriages Princess Adenike had because of the medicines they put in her meals at the times she was pregnant. Lola confessed to killing Princess Adenike's baby immediately it was born by touching the baby with a juju substance. She said that she offered her baby to Princess Adenike because she and Oyekule want their own son to be the prince and heir to the throne after they successfully killed Princess Adenike, because it was all part of their plan. They admitted that they could not explain how Princess Adenike was able to reject all the poison food they had offered to her and the pain which they now suffer. Their confession left everyone in the palace in utter shock, as they could not believe how the trio could harbor such evil in their hearts. Well, minutes after their confession, the three evil trio all died. Now, because of the scene going on in the palace, all the palace maids got engrossed in the strange event and forgot to watch after Lola's son, whom everyone believed was Princess Adenike's child. The child, being alone, wandered into his parents' room and saw the plate of the poisoned food lying on the ground. Being a child, he scooped some of the food into his mouth and ate it. And before the palace maid could remember that they were supposed to be looking after the young child and went to look for him, the child was dead. It was unfortunate that the innocent child had to lose his life also as a result of his real parents' evil deeds. All their bodies were dumped in the evil forest. A year later, after Princess Adenike was done mourning, King Adenike allowed her to marry her one and only true love, Ogundele. They had children and lived happily ever after. The end.
I hope you enjoyed the story and have learned a thing or two from it. I would love to know. Please leave a comment. Thank you for watching and see you in our next video. Bye.